Guys. Um, Today I'll be talking about Israel. Um, I receive a lot of messages asking me questions about Israel. So people ask me about citizenship in Israel. People ask me about work in Israel. And yeah, we're talking about citizenship. Israel don't give citizenship doesn't come that easy. For those of you who intend to come to um, work and live in Israel and become citizen. Citizen is not that easy, especially for Africans. I'm not saying they don't give to Africans, but it doesn't work the way it works in America. It doesn't work the way it works in Canada. Um, if you are an African married to an African woman in Israel, an African man married to an African woman in Israel, um, your citizenship is not guaranteed. You can be here for 20 years, they will give you a working permit, and that's all. But if you are a black man, you are married to a white woman of Israel, it doesn't matter if it's a white woman. I'm sorry, I don't want to sound as a racist. If you marry an Israeli, whether black or white, you are intending to get citizenship. I want you to listen carefully. If you are an African person and you married an Israeli woman that has citizenship, you are 99.9% assured that you're going to have your citizenship in Israel. 99.9% assured if you don't have any trouble with your spouse. Citizenship. Yes, I also my finding that Israel do accept their Israeli citizens who has never been to Israel before, and they have a descendant of Israel, like their forefather was an Israel, a Jewish, and yeah, you are allowed to come back to Israel no matter where you live in the world, no matter your citizenship. You can easily come to Israel and get an aliyah. They call it aliyah. When you arrive to Israel, the first thing you got to do is you go to study Hebrew. You have to study how to read and write Hebrew so that you can belong to the society, so that they can give you a professional work. Without you speaking the language or writing, there's no way they can give you an office work. You understand? So if you are intending to come to Israel and become citizen, you are intending to come and read and write in Hebrew. Israelis don't speak. They speak English, but they don't care about your English. In every office, you got to speak English. You'll find a professor who cannot even express in English professionally. You find a doctor in Israel who cannot even express himself in English professionally, but they are all professional in their field, for real. And this is a good one. Just like in France, they speak French. They don't care about English, and they are doing good in their language. It's only we that are African we adopt the English language and forget about ours. We speak English in our schools, and we can't express ourselves in our own indigenous language. That's so bad. How else do you get citizenship in Israel? Yeah, if you are a billionaire. If you are a billionaire, yes, you can buy your citizenship. Yeah, you come and invest in the country, and it's all over. Every country, you can buy citizenship in every country. United States, Canada, everywhere. Once you are a billionaire, just come and invest, and your citizenship is automatically. If you are a professional, you are a doctor and you intend to work in Israel, Israel don't just take professionals. Yeah, they want to, but the language is very, very paramount to them. You understand? The first thing, if they want to take you, once you come here to Israel, what you do is you got to go for the language first. The language is very, very important to them. You got to go learn the language, whether you are a doctor, whether you are an engineer, whether you are whatever field that you are into. You may want to know, people like us that are immigrants, we have not only Africans that are immigrants here, we have Russian immigrants, we have Ethiopian immigrants, we have um, Eritrean immigrants, we have um, Asians immigrant, Indian, Philippine, China, we all have them as immigrants in Israel. And everybody learns the language, because in every organization, in every company that you went to, if you have about 5 people, trust me, sometimes nobody speaks English. They have to look for someone to translate to you. So you got to learn the language by force, because you have to blend. Because in every company you go, you find they don't speak English. That's just the bottom line. Where I'm working right now, none of my boss speak English. Trust me. So the little Hebrew that I know, I use it to mingle with them and understand each other. Sometimes when they ask me to do something, I will just say yes, and I will try to build up what they're trying to say, then I will go for it. So coming to Israel to work or become citizen, you have to go and learn how to read and write. An immigrant like me, I didn't care about knowing the language, because I know I wouldn't take, I'm not going to be long in Israel, so I don't want to be here forever. So I didn't much care about the language. What other question do people ask? What else do you want to know? What else do you want to know? Yeah, okay, I'm gonna end this video right now. If you have any question, anything you want to know about Israel, please kindly drop your comment, so I can easily do a research and give you an answer. So right now, I'm going home. Sitting just right there. You saw my chairs? I was sitting there. I went to buy my toiletry. So I think I should tell you guys a story or something that you don't know about Israel. Israel are friendly people. On my finding, I found out that a lot of people, if you've never been to Israel, people think Israel are bad people. No. Let me be honest. Yes, Israel is one of the most hated countries in the world. But I'm going to tell you, if you have never been to Israel, you will think that Israelis are bad people. Israel are not bad people. Yeah, government can be harsh everywhere. In America, the government are harsh to immigrants. In Canada, government are harsh to immigrants. In the French country, France, governments are hard to immigrants. If you don't have document, that is not harshness. It is just the law. It is the law that you must have your papers. So we as an immigrant, we tend to believe that the government is harsh on us. Yes, in one way or the other, Israel government is harsh on immigrants. Yeah, an immigrant married an immigrant. Yes, you have children. They will give you a working permit. That's not too harsh. But you can be here for 15, 20 years. They wouldn't give you Israeli ID. You wouldn't get Israeli ID. But if you marry to an Israeli woman or an Israeli man, you'll probably get an ID. So I cannot give you uncountable times where Israel individuals give me money on the streets. You will never understand that they are good people. Forget about the war you see on the TV. They fight Yemen, they fight Palestine, they fight Syria, they fight Egypt. Man, all those things. When you are in Israel, you will hear the real truth. Israel don't attack first. They do not attack first. What Israel normally do is, they have intelligence everywhere in the world. when you are planning an attack on Israel, probably 95% of 95% Israel will find out that there will be an attack. That is Israel, for their intelligence is so high. I mean, the highest intelligence in the world. That is my finding. And majority of the time, the reason why you people don't see that the country like Syria and other countries attack Israel is because Israel, when they throw a missiles to Israel, Israel will catch the missiles. The robot will catch the missiles and it will not get down. Majority, they can throw 100 missiles and Israel will catch all of them. But when Israel retaliates, that is where the world will see, and they tend to hate Israel for that. I've been here for a while. I walk on the streets. Somebody call you, come and take coffee, come and visit me in your house. As a black man, I see that as a compliment, and I see them as good people. I cannot tell you how many times I've been offered coffee or I've been offered money by the Israel citizens. You know, and sometimes you tell them you want to go back to Africa. They tell you, why are you going back? I don't have a document to be here. They will tell you, oh, why don't you do this and that and that? I say, oh, no, it's not going to work. Individually, majority of the Israel citizens are friendly. I must tell you, but there's no way you can find one bad egg that will not like an immigrant, or not really about you being a black person, but he could just develop hatred for anything, you know. I think that's all I can say for Israel. So guys, you're expecting me to do a nice vlog. Recently, there's no senseless vlogging anymore. So I see you guys on my next vlog. Bye bye.